So
All right, just give me 1 second to make sure that my stream is live.
gotcha.
That's okay.
Mhm.
All right. All right. Yep, everything is good to go. All right. So, hi guys. I am KingSithis. I am okay. So what we're gonna do is, I'm guessing, is we're going to be doing like intros and then like back and forth and then Q&A
Yeah, yeah.
like we
Correct,
normally.
correct.
hmm
Yep.
Okay, no
Normally.
problem. Well, actually, I won't. Could AlphaCat go first?
No, King, you should go first because you initiated the thing, and I feel like you're more prepared with an intro.
All right, no
Yeah.
problem. No
I
problem.
didn't really prepare much, so
No problem.
go
No
ahead.
problem, AlphaCat. All
Start
right.
us off.
So, in the end of the day, I believe in abortion. I do believe that I support abortion within the first. I hold a what you call a evictionist slash consciousness argument, which is essentially that I believe that abortion and killing, ending the life or terminating the life of the unborn fetus is completely acceptable within the first 20 to 24 weeks of the pregnancy. And the reason why I believe so is because, in the end of the day, when do we consider a person to be a person? Do we consider them to be a person when the first cell in their body has been created and the last cell in their body has ceased to exist? Or do we consider a person to be a person once they gain consciousness? I would argue that, a person gains personhood once they gain their conscious ability. And that's why I believe that it is okay to terminate the pregnancy 20 to 24 weeks before the pregnancy. I mean, while in the pregnancy. And if I were to make a policy prescription, like a law, I would probably put it at 20 weeks. That's all I have to say.
All right. Alpha, go ahead.
Okay, thank you for your intro. I'm AlphaCat, and obviously I am pro-life, and I don't even like to call it pro-choice because at the end of the day, it is the being able to have the choice to terminate, aka kill a human being. I am of the view that personhood and human life begins at first fertilization. And this is actually biologically proven that the fundamental approaches of biomedical and social practice must begin with the understanding that the cells before birth is still a person, and that the cells are known as what we call an embryo or a fetus. This is just merely a developmental stage of human beings. So I believe that killing a human being at any stage of their life, whether they are in the embryonic stage or whether they are in a geriatric stage where they are perfectly turned into they develop dementia or they aren't fully conscious, um, they have the fundamental right to life, and we as human beings owe that to one another. So I guess, yeah, we can begin the back and forth. KingSithis, you can hit me with your first argument.
Yeah, that's no problem, So I just want to clarify real quick. When you say that life starts at, are you saying that life starts at conception, when the egg meets the sperm meets the egg and it starts to multiply?
So yeah, I have two studies here, or two opinions here. One of them is from the American College of Pediatricians,
hmm
and their view is that during the first 24 hours, once the sperm and egg bind to each other and fuse and create a zygote, this zygote that is initiating changes and
hmm
it's achieving DNA and growth is occurring, this is when life begins. The
Okay, so at
moment that
conception.
the
That
yes,
that's
at conception,
Yeah, at conception. I
within
just wanted to
24
clarify
hours.
that real quick, if that's all right.
Yes. And then
Yeah. hmm
there's another study uh, from the National Institute of Health that the biological line of existence of each individual without exception begins precisely when the fertilization of the egg is successful. So that could happen within literally 24 hours within the sperm meeting the egg.
All right, no problem. So you're basically, you're making the conception argument, which is essentially when the sperm meets the egg, it starts to multiply, and therefore, that's when a human being starts to.
That is a human being.
That is basically a human being. But my only contention with that is that that would also mean that in order for a person to die, it would have to basically be the last cell in their whole body has to basically die. Would you agree with that, or would you put some other, like, when do you consider a person to be dead?
When they are dead.
Yes, I know.
I mean, when a person dies, a
Mhm.
person is dead, and it's an actual tangible event that you can see and medically measure. A person is no longer alive.
Yeah,
You
so like
cannot
when
resuscitate them. You can no longer resuscitate them.
So when, like, what do you mean by resuscitate them? Like when their brain?
Meaning when a person's dead, they're dead. They're not going to come back to life.
Okay, so would you consider that to be?
But an embryo, is growing, therefore has the potential for life. But once something's dead, then no. But until a person dies, when you are, your Hippocratic oath is that you are fighting to keep a person alive until there's no longer any other choice, any other option. There's no medical procedure that can bring a person back to life, and that's when the person is dead.
Yeah, so
flatlined.
Okay, how about this? How about I put forth a hypothetical to you, okay? That cool?
Sure.
All right, so let's say that there is a person in a coma. We have a machine that is showing their brain waves. It is showing that this person is brain dead and they are never going to wake up again. Would it be immoral for that family to pull the plug on that person?
If they were to pull the plug and the natural course that would happen to that person is death, then it would not be. But if you were to pull the plug on a child, despite knowing that the natural course of an embryo would have been consciousness and life eventually once it's out of the womb, and even out of the womb, it's still a very dependent human being and it requires a lot of nurturing and whatnot. You are cutting off the potential for someone to actually be alive, whereas when somebody's in a coma and it's known that this person will not revive or come back from the coma, the natural course, if you were to pull the plug, would have been death. But the natural course of an embryo is not death, unless there is a complication that would say otherwise.
Yeah, but you could make that argument for a person who is in a coma that is going to wake up. If
a person is going to wake up, then yes, I mean, you should try to wait until that person, that doesn't justify killing a person who's in a coma just because he's unconscious. If you know this person's going to wake up, he needs a couple of months, maybe needs a year or so, then I believe it's unethical to cut off that potential for him to come back to life.
So you consider a person to be dead when their consciousness has left their body?
No, I consider a person to be dead when they're dead.
Yeah, but what do you mean by dead?
They're not dead.
Yeah, what do you mean by dead?
A person who's in a coma is still alive. Okay?
What about a brain dead coma?
He's still alive.
So it would be immoral to pull the plug on that person.
If a person is brain dead, right? And it's unknown whether or not this person's going to live or die.
Let's say it is.
What do you mean? It's known that this person's going to die?
No, it's known that the person is brain dead, like they're not going to wake up.
Oh, if they're not going to wake up, then what I'm saying is you go by what is the natural course that this person's going to take without all of these instruments. I mean, think about it. Like, is a baby hooked up to life support in order to keep it alive? No, right? The baby's natural course is to grow and develop healthily.
Yeah, but you're not answering my question. The question.
No, but you're comparing a healthy potential to life to someone who is brain dead hooked up to a bunch of machines. Now that's not the case with the baby.
Yeah. So the
If a
question.
baby was hooked up to a bunch of machines and if you didn't have those machines, the baby would die, then that's a different story. But if a person is brain dead and it's hooked up to a bunch of machines, and no matter what you do, the person is fully
Well, they'll stay
dependent on this
alive. The
machine.
person will stay alive if you keep them on the machines. The only thing is that's going to kill them is the fact that if you pull the plug, their body is still going to stay alive.
Yes, so that's what I'm telling you. The natural course of life would be death.
No, if you keep the person on the
If
machines,
you
their body's still going to
that's
stay
not a
alive.
natural course, but that's not a natural course of life. Staying hooked up on a machine is not a natural course of life. You
Yeah,
take
but
the
then
machines off. Is this person going to die?
So yeah, so
Yes or
you
no?
okay? So then you could make that argument for a person that's in a coma. If you take the life support away from a person in a coma, well, then their natural course would be death. Correct?
Yes, but now you're talking about the potential for life. If a person, if you are taking medical measures to try and help a person come back to consciousness when you know there's going to be consciousness, okay,
Mm-hmm.
then yes, you keep them on machines. But if you have a person who's going to die,
Well, the person's not going to
and
die. The only way they'll die is if you pull the plug on them.
yeah, so don't pull the plug on them.
Yes, but you said earlier that pulling the plug on a
But if
person.
there's no point, no, what I'm saying is if there's no point, you said that they're gonna die, they're already dead. There's no way to bring them back.
No, all I
Even
said.
in the machine,
Oh yeah, all I
even
said.
in the machine.
Yeah, all I said
Mhm.
was that the person was brain dead. Brain dead. That means there's no brain functions, but their body will still stay alive, like a person in a coma. The only way that it'll die is if you pull the plug on it or stop giving food to it or something like that. The same way as a coma. Do you think that if
Then then because even in the case that people are plugged into machines, there's still a point where they do die while they're on the machines.
yes, but the thing is,
So I
it's
believe
the
that
same thing
people
with
are
but you're
hopeful.
talking about a person. Two people. There's one person in a coma. Other person's brain dead. Both of them need life support in order to stay alive. Like you would agree to that.
Mhm.
So if you were
Yeah.
to, yeah. So the lifeless, the brain dead person can stay alive, right? Your body can stay alive if you keep them in the life support.
But but you see, you're using an extreme example to basically justify killing a healthy human being, though.
No,
Do you
I'm
realize
trying
that's what
to
you're
use a
doing?
hypothetical to figure out where you put your marker for death.
My marker for death is when someone's dead. If
I.
somebody's
What does
hooked
that
onto a
mean? What does
machine.
what does
No,
that mean?
but this is a silly point to argue. Let's bring it back to the actual point, which is, do you believe that a
Mhm.
healthy human being in the embryo, they're not hooked up to any machines or anything, and they have potential
They're
for
hooked up to
life?
another person's
Do,
body.
Doesn't matter.
Well, that's their life
That's a
support.
no. That's a natural stage of human beings, and if that's the case, a newly born baby is also hooked onto a mother's life support. I mean, you know about child neglect laws, right? Where you have to use your resources, your body, and you
Hmm.
need to set up a safe environment. You can't just leave the baby on its own to fend for himself until it reaches a certain age. So no matter what, whether it's inside the womb or outside the womb, this baby is still heavily dependent on their parents for support, for life support.
The
Okay.
same way a
So
person who's
whether
brain dead is heavily dependent on machinery in
yes,
order
but
to live.
but right now you're justifying death of a healthy human being, basically millions of healthy human
They're
beings that
both
are being
healthy.
killed across the globe. They're both no. A person who is brain dead, right? A person who is brain dead is a very extreme example. I'm talking about, are you going to go up to a person who just fell unconscious? Let's say a person got into a motorcycle accident and he's unconscious. Are you going to go and stab him and kill him?
No, because he has the capacity to deploy consciousness.
Exactly.
Whereas a
Thank you.
person who is
So
brain,
whereas
yes,
a
where hold
baby,
on, allow
no,
me to finish.
let's not talk about a person who's brain dead, because right now we're talking about pro-life and pro-abortion. So you
Mhm.
said that you would not kill a
Yeah, I'm
person
gonna
who
ask
just
when you're done
got
rambling.
into
I'm
a
gonna ask you the
motorcycle.
same question. You know that, right?
When a person is it just got into a motorcycle accident, he's unconscious, and you have not spoken to any doctors or anything, you have no idea, are you going to stab him just because he's unconscious? Are you going to kill him, or do you think it's justified to kill a person just because they're unconscious?
No, they have the capacity to deploy consciousness. Now,
So do you
the
believe
question
that
that I
a
was
baby
asking.
has the do you believe a baby has the capacity to become conscious?
The capacity to
Yes or
deploy
no?
consciousness?
Does a baby
Before 20 to
in the
24 weeks?
womb-
No. After? Yes.
My question is, do they have the potential, whether it's in 20 weeks, whether it's in 10 weeks, whether it's in a year, whether the baby has a disability, but later on outside of the womb, it will gain consciousness. Does it have the capacity to gain consciousness at some point in its life?
In the future, yes. But it doesn't
Yes.
have the
So
capacity to
while it's
deploy
not-
consciousness.
So while it's not conscious, just like the motorcycle guy who's unconscious for a few minutes, are you going to stab the baby and kill it?
Does it have the capacity to deploy consciousness?
Does the baby, you just answered yes, the baby eventually has the
No,
capacity to
I'm
deploy
not eventually.
consciousness.
You notice that you said eventually, which means that it doesn't have it at that moment, right?
Yes, but I don't believe that, you're putting categories around rights that a human being has. And you're basically saying that a person who's conscious has more value than a person who's
Yep.
unconscious.
That's exactly what I'm saying. Because
Yes, and
that's when we consider a person to be alive, and that's when we consider a person to be dead. And you
Who's
agreed
we?
with, well, me and you, because you said that.
No. I didn't say, I said I consider a person to be alive when he's alive, and
But
consider a person to be dead when he's
if
dead.
you can allow me, you said that if a person is brain dead is brain dead, it would not be immoral to pull the plug on that person because that person is dead.
I didn't say that the person's dead though.
Okay, so then let's clarify. I'll ask you the question again. Let's say that there's a person who is brain dead. Would it be immoral for the family to pull the plug on that person because they consider them to be dead?
If the person's natural course is that he's going to die and he will never be conscious like a baby would, then yes.
Your marker for death is the capacity to deploy consciousness.
No.
Why not?
My it's a doctor would, it's not whether you're mixing up that a person being conscious equals they are dead. Or not being conscious equals
not
they're
having
dead.
the capacity to deploy consciousness ever again I would argue means that you're death, and you would argue that too.
Well, I personally don't. I wouldn't pull the plug. I don't think that that's something that you should do.
But the question is, yes. But
dead.
The question isn't whether you would do it. The question is whether it would be immoral for someone to do that.
I believe it's immoral in any stage to kill a human being who is alive.
So even if the person is brain dead, we must keep that person on equipment to keep them alive.
Let the natural course of life take its toll.
So keep them on the machines indefinitely.
You could keep them on the machines. If a person cannot, for example, if there were a case that, there have been many cases where people have been in comas and they didn't come back from the comas, and people thought they would never come back to a coma. Okay. They never thought that they would come out of the coma, but they eventually did.
Yeah, but we're talking about a person that was in a coma. They do still have.
Yeah, but you're using. I know, but you're using.
But there's a difference between a coma and brain death, right? You understand that?
It doesn't matter. A person who's, people could be born with disabilities. Maybe they are not fully conscious, but you don't kill them. You don't devalue their life just because of that.
Well, they have the capacity to deploy consciousness. They may have.
How do you know that? But how do you know that? That's not even confirmed. You can't even confirm or deny that.
Well, yeah, you could. All you need to do is you need to go on Google. You could look up when does consciousness develop within the body, and the scientists have shown that around 20 to 24 weeks. That's when the parts of your brain is created
is that it's okay to murder an unconscious human being by your own logic.
Well, not murder, kill.
I mean, it's considered murder because you're doing it against the person's will.
Not necessarily, because
the
will of a person isn't there.
Someone.
The will of the person isn't there because they aren't conscious. They can't make a decision one way or another. So to me, you're just killing a body.
So are you saying, okay, so for example, if a woman is unconscious, right? While she's in an unconscious state, if a man were to rape her,
she has the capacity to deploy consciousness. No, because she has
but in that moment, she had no idea. She had no will. She was completely unconscious. Let's say she never woke up. Is it okay for a man to rape her while she's completely unconscious?
No,
And this did happen in a hospital, actually.
no, because she has the capacity to deploy consciousness.
Yes, but you don't know. Okay, so I just told you a baby has the capacity to deploy consciousness, so your own argument doesn't hold up.
No, it does not. A two-cell organism doesn't have consciousness at all.
Yes,
And
but it does have the capacity to, because it's growing. A two-cell organism is growing to deploy consciousness.
capacity to deploy
Without that two without, you're acting like a baby like comes like without those two cells, it's not capable to even have consciousness to begin with.
Do you think a two-cell organism has consciousness? Or at least human
It doesn't
consciousness?
matter. It's still a human.
Well, it
It's still
matters
a
to
human
me.
being.
It matters to me.
Yes, but you're basically saying that it's okay to kill somebody because they're unconscious, and also you're killing
No.
somebody within a developmental stage.
I said it's
You're
okay.
killing. You're
It's o-
killing a person.
It's okay to end the life of a person who does not have the capacity to deploy consciousness.
That's not the case with children. That's
Well,
not the
yeah,
case
absolutely.
with babies,
Because the thing is, a baby has never gotten the
majority
capacity to
of
deploy consciousness.
all babies, every single human being,
Mhm.
every single human being has a stage called a developmental stage called the fetal stage, okay, which literally starts from the embryonic stage all the way to the final trimester, okay, so
So
it's a
the
fully grown baby
Mhm.
in the womb. And part of this development is you need all of these cells to grow, and the DNA, the chromosomes, even what the baby is going to look like, all of these things, the eye color, all of the genetic makeup of this baby is decided already at the beginning stage
Can I
of
say something real
this
quick? For those
fetal.
people, for those people who want to know, capacity to deploy consciousness means that becoming conscious again from an unconscious state. So that means if you're able to become conscious again, that would mean that you have the capacity to deploy consciousness. That's just for the people in the audience. Continue, AlphaCat. Sorry.
Okay, so so now I'm telling you that a baby,
Mm-hmm.
it's required for the baby to be in the fetal stage, even though you believe it's just a clump of cells.
Mm-hmm.
It's not a clump of cells, because to say that a clump of cells, it would be like it would be like going to the beach and picking up some sand. It's a clump of sand where the entire beach is the sand that you're taking the clump out of. A baby
Is
is
sand
its
alive?
own organism. It's its own. I'm just giving an example of saying a clump of cells means it's a
Mm-hmm.
part of something. A baby, a clump, the embryo is not a part of something. It is its own entity. Okay, it is its own organism, and it has its own DNA that is separate, that is very distinct from the mother's DNA and the father's DNA. It's its own. It has its own genetic makeup, and this is what
Okay, so
creates a
does
human being. It
does a
has the
two-cell
potential
organism have the capacity to deploy consciousness?
capacity to deploy consciousness. Yes, it does.
Really?
Yes, it does.
What will make you
Because
say that?
unless you allow it to grow, it
Unless
will not. So you are cutting off
it will?
you are killing the potential. No, no, no. What I'm saying is you are killing a human being that has the potential to grow into a person that you believe your criteria for a person is
You have a
consciousness,
blueprints for a
right?
person, but you don't have a person. A person doesn't become a
Yes, but
person until their consciousness. I mean, when I say consciousness, I mean human consciousness. A two-cell organism doesn't have
what
human
is that?
consciousness.
But can you but what is that?
Consciousness is generally is I'm here, therefore I am, or another way of saying it is the ability to know the fact that you're alive, or another way of saying it. I could look
To
up the
know
exact
that you're alive?
the awareness
So
of one's existence, essentially. But I could look up the actual definition.
how do you know that a baby, even right outside of the womb, like when do you know that the baby has consciousness? Like how do you measure this?
Yeah, so scientific studies have shown basically that when you're around the time, when around 20 to 24 weeks, that's when the parts of the brain that is associated with consciousness starts to sort of develop. And there are more studies that go super deep into how they do this. But basically, on every study that I've seen, every single person that has basically done the research on this has said that around 20 to 24 weeks, some say 20, 28 weeks, is when, you know, the baby starts to develop consciousness. That's when the brain starts to develop consciousness, because your consciousness is a part of your brain.
Yes, so it develops it, and it develops it over a period of time. This is called a developmental stage.
Yep. So
You
before
have
it
to let
has
the
it, it doesn't have it.
Yes, but that's not where a person's rights lie. Like, you cannot say that, oh, just because you're not conscious right now, I have the
Well, you
right
don't
to
have the
kill
capacity
you.
to deploy consciousness.
But that's not how you measure a person's human rights. If
Of
a person
course.
does not have the capacity, no, if a person does not have the capacity to deploy consciousness, this doesn't take away their fundamental right to live.
Well, I would say it
A
does,
human being,
because
a
like I
human
said,
being. Go
if
ahead.
you like I was gonna say, like I said earlier, it doesn't really make sense for me to deem a human to be dead only when the last cell in their body has ceases to live. It makes more sense to me to put it at the what you call it, the brain death area, because if you have a person that's unconscious and is going to wake up again, well, then to me, they, you know, pulling the plug on that person would not be very good. I mean, I guess it would depend on the family, but if you have a person that's brain dead, they're never going to wake up again. To me, that person is completely dead. Simply because their body is still alive doesn't make them to be
Do you see
alive.
how that point also works against you, because you're saying that a baby in an embryonic stage does not have the capacity to deploy consciousness.
Mm-hmm.
It's only and you agree that it's only a matter of time and a couple of weeks before it does develop the capacity to deploy consciousness, which is at
Yeah,
about
so that's
10
why you
weeks.
would
I mean,
put the
I don't.
policy prescription
But
at
then
20
wait,
weeks.
wait. But my point is that a person who is unconscious in this time right now, it does not have the capacity to deploy consciousness. It will, according to the doctors. Let's say
Yeah,
you
so
need the
they do
medicine
have
to
the
do its work,
capacity to.
and the cells, and hold on, and the cells need to develop in this person's body. You know, our cells are still developing as we go through changes. If we are going through medical procedures, like for example, if somebody's going through chemotherapy, their cells are regenerating and developing and going through some sort of developmental stage at that point. And so it will require a couple of weeks, let's say, for a person to regain consciousness. Now, based on what you're saying, it will, because it's still developing and it has a capacity for deploying consciousness within a few weeks or a month or a few months or however long this thing needs. Again, how are you not applying this rule to a human being that's in the womb developing right now, just like
Easy.
a person who's in a coma in this moment,
Yeah.
right? The person who's in a coma, the doctor tells you he will form consciousness again in 10
No, yeah, I
months,
get the question.
right?
Yeah, so easy. So basically, the reason why is because a human that has never deployed consciousness, has never gotten any of the experiences, the memories, the existence that a person who is in a coma has. You know, when you end the life of a person with a coma, you're ending a person. You're ending a person with experiences, a person with family members that care about them. There's a whole package of things that sort of come with ending that life. Whereas a human baby, you don't really have any of that. You don't have the conscious experience. You
You're
don't have
still
the
adding
memories. You don't have
categories.
the memories. You don't have the awareness of existence. You don't have the things that would make a person that would consider that would make a person to be considered to be conscious, or at least have the capacity to deploy consciousness.
So now you're putting another category on what human is
Well,
valuable. You're
memories
not
are a
just.
part of consciousness, and if you've never deployed
No, but
consciousness,
what I'm saying is your first argument was that a person needs to have the capacity to deploy consciousness. You
Mhm.
never said anything about memories or having experiences before.
well,
And regardless of what
that
if.
is part of
Mhm.
being having consciousness, is the
So would you say
experiences.
would yes, but what if the person has the potential to have experiences? I mean, that wasn't your first argument. Your first argument
Well, I would
was
argue. My
that
argument is that a baby doesn't have the capacity to deploy consciousness. They may have the potential.
they do, though.
They don't, because
Because you said, yes, you said that a person who's in a coma has the capacity to deploy consciousness, but while they're in a coma, they don't have the capacity,
they
just like a
do have the
baby.
capacity to deploy consciousness, because they will
No,
wake
they
up
don't,
eventually. A
because they're
person
in
in
a
a
coma.
coma. Yes,
A person in a coma
I've
is
already
unconscious
while
they
given
are.
you the definition of capacity to deploy consciousness. Become conscious again from an unconscious state. If you are going to wake up from a coma and you've had consciousness before, you're temporarily lost your consciousness, or your consciousness, you're just basically unconscious. Whereas
Yes,
a
but
baby
that does not
isn't
mean.
conscious at all and has never developed consciousness
So
at
you
all.
believe that it's okay to murder babies because they haven't been conscious before?
Not murder, kill.
I mean, that's just a euphemism. You're
Well, yes,
killing a
because
child.
you're what you're doing is you're morally loading the word. Murder is an unjustified ending of a person's
No,
life.
and you're taking away. But what you're doing is, if you're telling me that I'm morally loading
Terminate.
the word, you're also, what you're doing is you're removing the actual term, and you're adding a euphemism to it to make it seem as though it's not murder when it is.
Well, I don't
If you
believe
were
it's
to go
murder.
up to
That's why I'm
somebody,
saying it's
you know, but
killing.
that's a very subjective view. You don't believe
Yes.
it's murder, but it
Yes.
is murder.
Well, that's your view. That's your viewpoint that it's murder. I don't
Whether
believe it's
you
murder,
can
so I'm not going to agree that
look,
it's murder.
it's a human being. Scientifically, it's a human being. Like, it is a human
Yeah, but
being
it's not a
inside of
person.
you. What's the difference between a human being and a person?
A human body, a human body comes into existence when you said when under conception, but a person, I can differentiate a human body versus a person. A person becomes into existence when the existence of consciousness starts to be created, and that is
According to
20 to
what?
24
Where's
weeks.
this definition that you're getting?
You could just look it up. When does consciousness develop within the body?
No. What is the difference between a human being, meaning
A human
I'm giving
body.
birth to a human being?
There's a
No, I
human
didn't
body.
ask you what a human body. I asked what is the difference between a human being and a person?
Yeah, I didn't
Being
use the word
means
human
life.
being. Yeah, that's a living human body. But that doesn't mean that you're a
A
person.
living human body. So what's the difference between a living human body and a person?
One has the capacity to deploy consciousness, and the other one doesn't always have the
The
capacity to
other one
deploy
does.
consciousness.
No, but they do.
We've already gone over this. A baby who hasn't gained consciousness.
No. A baby has the capacity for consciousness.
Not if it hasn't developed it yet.
No. That's according to your own insertion that that is not backed by anything.
Okay. How about this?
It has the capacity for consciousness.
Mhm.
You are, because this is part of the developmental stage. I mean, for example, a human being does not have the ability to reproduce, for example,
Okay.
until it
So
reaches an
when
even
does
later
puberty
stage.
start?
I don't know off the top of my head.
Usually, like the teenage years. Let's say a baby, a young adult, before they get puberty, do they have the capacity to deploy puberty before they have it?
No, they don't.
Exactly.
So should you kill them? Yeah,
No,
but that's
I'm not
what
saying to kill them.
Is that,
if you don't
what I'm
have,
saying
you
is
either
you're
have
now just-
puberty. Listen to me. You either
Wait.
listen to me, AlphaCat. Allow me to finish. You either have puberty or you don't have puberty. The same thing with consciousness. You either have consciousness
that I brought
or you
up.
don't have consciousness.
Yes,
a
that's
baby
what I brought
has
up
not.
as an example.
Allow me to finish.
Hold on.
Alpha, I allowed you.
Hold on. You hijacked.
Allow
my
me to
example
finish. You
because
must allow me to finish.
Hold on. You hijacked my point though, because I brought up puberty. I brought up puberty and then you hijacked it. So let me finish my first point on puberty before you started telling me about when puberty starts. So what the example that I was giving you is, just like consciousness being developed in a human being, reproductive organs and the capacity to reproduce, which is the stage of puberty, is something that also develops in a human being at a later stage. Okay. And there's developmental processes that take place in a human being's body all the way until they are up to the age of 26 or 30 even. Okay.
Yeah. So before you're
pregnant. So what I'm saying is,
you...
wait, let me finish. So what you're doing is you are putting categories on what constitutes a person versus what doesn't constitute a person. And what I'm telling you is that you're not seeing every stage of life of a human being as just a part of their development. I mean, just because a person is not conscious does not mean that thing is not a human being. It's still a human being. It has the right to life.
Okay. So a person who it doesn't have puberty, do they have the capacity to deploy another human being? Do they have the capacity to become pregnant?
It's a developmental stage in their body, just like consciousness is a
Yep.
developmental
So when
stage, and they
they
should not be discriminated against one another. Like, you shouldn't
yeah,
think that,
so when you
oh,
don't
because a
have puberty,
person, because consciousness is important to you, like somebody could say, oh, a person who went through puberty, that's what makes a person. That's basically what you're saying. You're saying, oh, a consciousness is what
yes.
makes a person.
So
It's
when
not.
I understand that you believe that, but I'm trying to ask you a simple question, and you're not allowing
No,
me.
because you're asking a question that doesn't aid the debate in any way.
Well, I think it does, so that's why I'm asking
No,
it.
it doesn't. Because at the end of the day, I'm going to tell you that consciousness, or deploying consciousness in a human being, is a part of the developmental stage of a human being. It is the fetal stage of a human being.
Okay, so
Just like
are
the
you going to
reproductive
refuse to answer
stage.
the puberty question, or
I already answered the
so
question
the question?
earlier.
No, you didn't really answer it. The question is, if you are if you don't have puberty, do you have the capacity to deploy puberty? Yes or no?
I understand your question, and you're going to ask me again, oh, if they have the capacity to deploy consciousness. But what I'm trying to explain to you is that is not how you decide whether or not a person gets killed or not.
So you don't. Okay, so you do agree that the person that doesn't have puberty doesn't have the capacity to have a child or do the things
No, because
that come with
it hasn't
having
developed
puberty.
yet. It hasn't. That's why you have to allow. That's why
Wait,
you
what
should
did you say?
allow them.
Wait,
It
what?
hasn't developed yet.
It hasn't developed yet. Kind of like
Yes.
consciousness.
Yes, but just like just like puberty, just because consciousness hasn't developed yet doesn't mean that the thing that is inside the womb is still not a human being.
Yeah,
It's
but
not a
you would
koala in there.
agree
It's
that
not a
it doesn't
tomato. It's
have.
a human being.
You would agree that it doesn't have
But
the capacity to deploy consciousness.
no, it does have the capacity because it's developing.
So you
What
would
does
agree that it
development?
doesn't
Okay,
have the.
what does growth? Okay, what does growth and development mean to you?
Okay, so you understand there's a difference between a blueprint and a building, right?
What does growth and development mean to
That
you?
you're in
What
the
is the
process
definition
of
of
turning into
growth?
something. Growth is when you're in the process of turning
Exactly.
into something
So
bigger.
what is a
That means that you're
baby
not.
in the
Are you that
process?
thing when you're growing
What is
into
the
it, or
baby? Hold on. What is the baby in the process of becoming?
is a caterpillar a butterfly while it's a caterpillar because it's eventually going to turn into a butterfly?
Yeah, but we don't go around killing caterpillars because they're not butterflies yet.
Answer the question.
But what you see, you're running away from the main
I'm
point.
not answering.
What is the no?
I'm
What is
running away.
development? What is growth and development in the fetal stage? What is the baby growing and developing into?
It's growing into a person.
Exactly.
Yeah, but it's not a person yet because it hasn't grown. It hasn't developed the
it's
capacity to deploy consciousness.
It hasn't developed it.
Yes.
But just because it hasn't developed consciousness, that's not how you decide whether a human being has the right to life or not.
Okay, so it seems like you agree with me on this. So I'm just gonna move on. So let's say
No, I don't agree with you. No, I don't agree that you should kill a human being based on consciousness, because then you are discriminating against people who are not conscious.
no, you agree
people
that
who are
there's a
asleep.
baby doesn't have the
Do you
capacity to
understand that
deploy
even
consciousness.
No, that's not. I don't what do you I just told you that a person does not have the capacity to reproduce, but it has the capacity to potentially reproduce once it develops.
Yeah, but
That's what
before it
growth and
develops
development
it,
is all about.
before it
Yeah, but when
develops it,
something
okay, but before it develops it, does it have the
what does
capacity?
growth and yeah, but the point is that when it is growing and developing, this means by definition this is life. This is a living being.
I understand
so you are
it's a
killing
human
living
body.
being.
I understand that it's a human body.
So you're basically pro killing human beings.
I'm
at some
stage. Ending the life of
a human
terminating
being.
the life of a human being. Yes.
Of a human being. Yes.
Yes, a human body, I should say. Okay, so let me.
It's not a human body. No. It's not. A human body would be like a cadaver. Okay. There's no growth in there. Okay. We're talking about a human being that is constantly moving. I mean,
does it have the capacity to deploy consciousness? Or it developed it
yes,
at
it
least?
does. Yes, it does.
No, it does not.
Yes, it does.
A two-cell
Yes,
organism
does.
doesn't have consciousness.
It has the capacity to develop consciousness.
No, but not deploy it.
And also,
yeah, but not deploy it.
See, I don't know why, but I don't know why we're even arguing this point because
well,
I'm
because
against
that's
the
what
view.
because
No,
the reason
I'm
why we're
against
arguing
the
is because that's
view.
when I consider it to be a human being. Now, my next question to
That's
you.
when you consider it to be a human being.
No, be a person, to be a person.
Yes, but we're not talking about the rights of a person. We're talking about the rights of a human being.
I don't care about a human body.
You're moving away. You're alienating a group of human beings based on, okay, only people, you're saying only persons have the right to live. But what I'm talking about is every single human being has the right to live.
Yeah, but that, again, I don't agree with that.
What you're saying is not all human beings
well,
have the
how
right
about this?
to live.
How about this? Let's say there's a woman and she gets pregnant and she decides, well, let's say she decides to have sex, but she gets pregnant unknowingly. And she decides to drink, and because of that, she gets a miscarriage. Should she be charged with negligence?
Yes.
Yes?
I mean, negligence? Like, wait, charged with, wait, what was your question? She knows she's pregnant.
So let's say, yeah, so there's a woman that has sex, that decided to have sex, and she doesn't know that she's pregnant. She drinks, like, the next few days, and because of that, she has a miscarriage. Should she be charged with murder?
Okay, can we not deal in hypotheticals and deal with more realistic situations? Because
so it's not realistic for a baby to die in the womb from alcohol intakes?
It's the
that's not a hypothetical situation.
I actually looked into this. Infant mortality rate from alcohol consumption, from just one or even like a few glasses of wine when you're in the first trimester is very, very low. You would have to be like, I mean, there are babies who survive from like drug addicted mothers who are on heroin. So, but this is not a good. Let me give you a better argument.
So you're saying that women,
no, AlphaCat. In the U.S., hold on. In the U.S., you can actually be charged with murder if you are a boyfriend.
I'm asking you,
girlfriend,
AlphaCat. You're running away from the question. Listen to me.
No, hold on. I'm not gonna do hypotheticals because extreme hypotheticals.
That's not a hypothetical. That happens in real life.
No, it doesn't.
So women drinking alcohol and killing their babies because they drink too much alcohol.
You said a woman.
That's not a hypothetical that can happen.
She didn't know. You said she didn't know she was pregnant. Okay, and she drank alcohol.
Yeah, that can't happen.
The chances of that happening are actually extremely low.
It doesn't matter. It could happen, right?
No, but see, you're giving me an extreme example. Like, but see, this is why I don't want to entertain this thought.
Listen to me.
Experiment. Let me
AlphaCat,
give you a better example. No, let me give you an actual. No, let me give you.
No, stop.
Let me give you a better example.
Do you believe?
Let me give you a.
Wait.
KingSithis, can I give you a better example?
Wait.
Yes or no? Go ahead.
Wait, guys. Oh, go ahead, Alpha. Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so do you believe that if let's say this actually has happened, okay, there's many cases of this, and you could actually go to prison for this. If you are a man and you gave your girlfriend or fiance or somebody that you know, you could be a man or a woman, you gave her the abortion pill, okay, without her knowing, and you terminated her pregnancy, you could actually go to jail for that, for murder.
Okay, beautiful.
Do you think
now let's go back to my question.
Do you think it's
my
ethical?
question was that.
Hold on, do you think it's ethical for somebody to give a woman an abortion pill without her knowing?
No, because you're killing a future person. You're ending the life of a future person.
Thank you. I rest my case.
So the reason why is because the person who has that baby wants to have that baby. So if you're ending that baby, you're ending the life of a person that was going to be born. Whereas let's say that mother was going to, say, an abortion clinic, and the boyfriend decides to slip in a pill and that baby dies like on the way to the abortion clinic. If that mother was going to, whether or not that would be murder, would depend on whether or not that mother wanted to have that baby.
So now you're talking about wantedness.
Also, hold on, stop.
You just said you're ending the life of a person who was going to be born.
Yeah, so if you're a person,
so do you see how you yourself are kind of agreeing now? Okay, let's just for the sake, let's put the debate aside that you're pro-choice and I'm pro-life. Okay, just think about this for a second. You just said because I actually want you to understand this. Now, I just don't want to, I don't care about just winning the argument or whatever. I actually want you to see this from a realistic perspective.
Mhm.
If you think about it, you just said, if a person were to, let's say there's a woman who's in her first trimester, it's not even 20 weeks yet, right? And she's looking forward to having this baby. But then let's say the boyfriend does not want to have anything to do with the child and she's not going to terminate the pregnancy and he slips her the pill. You said that would have been a person. Okay. You're ending the life of a person who was going to be born. So why not apply this to
You're
even
violating
the cases where
because you're violating that
women,
person's consent by slipping a drink, something into another person's drink. You're violating that person's consent. If that
but
person
that's not
wanted
what
to,
you said. You said no, KingSithis.
well,
Go back to what you said.
it's another
You
argument.
said
Hold on,
you're
I'm giving. It's two arguments. Okay, one
okay.
is that if the mother was going to keep that baby, you're ending the life of a future person because that baby mother was going to keep that baby. Two, you violated the consent of that mother by putting something into her drink without her consent. The
So
person.
are you saying it's okay to kill a baby because a mother doesn't want it?
Well, it depends. If it's okay to end the life of the baby if the mother decides to, yes. But
Okay,
it would
so
be
if
it would
the
be
mother,
but it would have to be her doing it consensually. Like somebody slipping something in her drink would
so
be violating
why
her
is it
consent.
just the mother? Why is it just the mother and not the father who's
Well,
also
easy because
equally
the baby is the
responsible
one
for
is
this child?
connected to the mother and not the father. So she's the one that makes the
How is it
choice.
okay? But you're basically saying that it is okay for a person to kill another human being just because it's connected to them?
Well, yeah, because not only that, but the thing is, the reason why I think abortion is okay within the first 20 to 24 weeks because ending the life of that thing would be as inconsequential as ending the life of a person who is brain dead because they've never gotten consciousness to begin with. So before the 20 to 24 weeks, if you want to end or terminate the pregnancy, you're more than welcome to do that. I have absolutely no issue with that. I would say after 20, 24 weeks, I think after that, you should be getting a C-section and give the baby up for adoption because after that, the baby is completely viable outside of the womb.
You understand that you are basically denying a person their rights over a child only because of physical location.
No, I never said that. I said
Which
that.
is no, physical location, meaning the baby is in the mother's womb, right? Connected to the mother. Therefore, the father has no say or no rights in what happens to this baby.
Well, yeah, the
Is
baby's
that what you're
connected.
saying?
The baby's
So
connected to
basically, if
who?
you the baby is, yes, but what I'm saying is that
I
is
didn't
a
get
very
I didn't get a
subjective
question
view.
answer to my earlier hypothetical.
What was the question?
The the baby is connected to the mother, so therefore she's the one that gets the choice to whether or not she can remove the baby from her body or not, because in the end of the day, it's literally connected to her. The father can't really have a say over another person's body because I believe in personal property rights. I believe that people own their own body, so therefore another person can't use your body without your consent. To answer that quickly.
Okay, so I'm just letting you know that,
Mhm.
okay, in the case you're saying that a woman has the choice because it's her own body, but isn't still her body when the baby is up to full term? Why
Yes,
are you
because
okay
she
with
could get a
her?
C-section if
No,
she
but
doesn't
what
want the
if it's
baby in
her
her.
body and she doesn't want to have a C? What if a woman says, "This is my body. I want to have an abortion right now in 5 months"? Why are you advocating for a woman's choice only for a few weeks, but not later on?
Because the
Why
baby,
are you?
before that, the baby doesn't have the capacity to deploy consciousness, and after that, the
No, no,
baby
no. But
does.
you said that because no, earlier you, according to your argument, you said because the baby is connected to the mother, whether it has consciousness or
Mhm.
not, is a different is besides the point. It is still consciously
No,
it might be
it
conscious,
is
but it's
part of the
still
point
connected. No, it's still connected to the mother. So why doesn't the mother, because the baby is connected to her umbilical cord and
well,
the
that is the reason
placenta?
why, because it is
Why
connected to her,
is a mother, no, according to you, why is a mother not allowed to kill the baby then?
because it doesn't have because it has the capacity to deploy consciousness.
So a mother doesn't have rights over her own body at that
It
point.
does. She could.
But that's not really giving her full rights.
What do you mean? You could get the baby taken
That's
out of
You're
you.
just giving her option. You're just forcing her into one option, which is a C-section. That's still
Not
a very
forcing her.
invasive
She
procedure.
either
That's
could
still a
have the
very
baby and then give it up for adoption later,
no,
or she could
you're
get a
not giving a
C-section.
woman her no, but now you're not giving a woman her right to her own body.
Yes, you are. You're giving her an option for a C-section. So
No,
wait,
no. What if a
you
woman?
think a
What if a
woman?
woman?
What's the
No,
difference
no.
between
According to
killing the
you're
baby and taking
saying
it out of your body? You're taking the
you're
baby out of your
saying
body.
to
You're
a
saying,
woman. No. For a woman with a womb, there's a huge difference, and there are many women who are fighting for the right to have abortion all the way to
yeah, I don't agree
full
with them.
term because it's their body. Okay, so exactly. So now you have to admit that you don't believe that a woman has the right to kill a child at any given point that she wants because it's her body
I've
and
said this
because the
from the
baby is
beginning. Yes,
connected to
I've
her.
said this from the
But
beginning.
earlier you said the woman has the right to choose whether she keeps the baby or not
Yeah,
because the
in the
baby's
beginning
connected to her.
window when they
And
don't have capacity to deploy consciousness, they have a window of time in which they can
that's
make
not
that
what you
choice.
said.
That is
Okay,
what I
so
said.
you're just clarifying that now because earlier you said because the woman is connected to the baby's connected to
You
the
asked me
womb.
why the husband doesn't have a choice over whether or not she can have an abortion, and I said the reason why is because the baby is connected to the mother. That's why I said that.
Yes, but what you're saying now is that the woman's rights is conditional over consciousness.
Oh, yes.
Is that what you're saying?
The capacity to deploy consciousness, yes.
No. What I'm saying is
Well,
that
she
is a
still has rights over
condition.
her body. She just can't kill the thing because then it would be killing a human being. If there's a way in which she could remove the baby without killing it, we think that that is a better option because there's no
Okay,
reason
so
to kill the baby.
do you disagree with women who believe that they have the right over their own bodies to terminate a pregnancy
Full term?
at let's say second trimester?
Is that before 20 to 24 weeks or after the 20 to 24 weeks?
It's after 20
Before
weeks.
the 24 to 24 weeks? Yes. After the 20 to 24 weeks? No, they get a C-section.
So you're talking about passing a policy that only allows the killing of a human being before it's conscious.
Yes. So
Okay.
let me ask.
You do realize that that's still killing of a human being, though, right?
I've said this so many times. I've admitted this many times. But I don't consider it to be the killing of a person.
But you do realize that we're not talking about the rights of a person. We're talking about the rights of a human being.
Yeah, there's a difference
Human
between
beings have rights.
Human beings
So
either
you're
have
saying, but
personhood or they
essentially
don't
what
have
you're saying.
personhood. There are
So essentially, what you're. I feel like this is okay. So I feel like we've kind of like I don't know how we can argue further than this because you are talking about
Well, I have
a person's
hypotheticals for
rights.
you.
You're talking about a person's rights, and I'm talking about a human being's rights, a human being who has a potential to become a person. But that's still besides the point. I don't believe that this is what you should. This is a measure for who has the fundamental right to live. I mean, a baby who is in the womb, even if it is even right before 20 weeks, even before 20 weeks, the heart starts to beat. I think the heart starts to beat at 10 weeks. And
yeah, but it doesn't have the capacity to deploy consciousness.
Yes, but that's not how you value life. Like
That
that's
is
not
how I
how
value
a
life.
human being. Yes, but I'm talking about that is your subjective opinion.
Yes.
But human beings have rights in this country. Okay, human beings. We don't have laws that say, oh, if a person has the capacity for consciousness. I mean, there are people who have disabilities. If a person's, let's say, a lot of people would argue that the quality of life also has a lot to do with it.
Okay,
I mean,
so
do you
let's say
believe that a person's
let's say a girl decides to have sex. She gets pregnant. She decides to drink alcohol, not knowing that she's pregnant, and the baby dies as a result of that. Should she be charged with murder?
See, that's if she is okay, so if a person is having sex, then one, she is risking procreation. Okay. So she is responsible to some extent for not knowing. And I
So
do
is that a
believe
yes?
to some extent there should be some ramifications for that.
So if you drink alcohol after having sex and a baby has, been created,
The
and that baby
likelihood of
dies,
the likelihood of
she should be
literally
charged with murder.
because I believe you should be I believe a woman and the abortionist should be charged with murder for all abortions
Okay, so let's
and
say
for all
let's say a
killings.
14-year-old girl gets
Look, if
raped.
it was accidental, look,
Mhm.
I'm all for giving the benefit of the doubt. If it was accidental, I don't think that somebody should be charged with murder,
Well, maybe
but
like manslaughter or like negligence, something like that, maybe.
negligence, yes, I absolutely some ramification needs to happen. I mean, I think that there needs to be some like, I mean, look, women are using abortions as a method of contraception, which I think is absolutely unacceptable.
Hmm.
Like, it just, if you like, human beings are under this false sense of entitlement that they have the fundamental right to sex, but they don't have to worry about the consequences or the risks that come with it,
Okay,
and so
so
we have all
yes,
these
if you
people.
have sex after, and you get, have a child, that child dies, you should be charged with negligence or some sort of manslaughter charge, right?
If I mean, look, there are parents who are literally, they get their children taken away, or they get sent to prison for negligence. I mean, parents have gone to jail for worse, for a lot for a lot less than killing their children. I mean, parents go to jail for leaving their
Okay.
kids alone unattended for like a half hour or something. Child negligence laws
Let's
are
say
extremely
all
strict,
right,
and
so
I
let's
think
say
they
a
should
woman,
be.
yeah, so let's say a woman is raped. Should she be allowed to end the pregnancy of that and the termination and terminate that pregnancy?
No, because once again, the baby had nothing to do with it, and also you are bringing up a very extreme example that makes up maybe less than 6% of pregnancies, and also majority of women who actually have been victims of rape willingly go through the full term pregnancy.
All right, well, let's say if she's like 14 years old and she's been raped by like a family member, should she not be allowed to terminate that pregnancy?
No, once again, it's very sad what happened to her, but that doesn't give you the right to kill a human being.
Let's say that 14-year-old decides to kill her baby. Should she be charged with murder
Like
or
I
end the
said,
pregnancy?
if everyone who, well, I mean, I don't think it would be, um I don't know what the laws are, but
No, just asking your
uh
opinion.
yeah, if she willingly chose to terminate the pregnancy, then yeah, she should be charged with murder the same way that guy should be charged with rape. I mean, she's just another criminal, you know?
Mhm. All right, last question. I think that's a little bit fucked, but that's just me. So let's say that there's a baby. She ejects a. Well, actually, I got two more questions left. Let's say a
Sure.
woman decide like she has a miscarriage, right? And the baby basically comes out her. Should she be obligated to take that baby to the hospital? If not, like shouldn't that be like considered to be murder if she doesn't, or like negligence or something like that?
If anyone, okay, this is your own baby you're talking about. If
Hmm.
somebody if a complete stranger fell unconscious in front of me, I would drop what I'm doing to take this person to the hospital.
Hmm.
So I think, yes, we as human beings have an obligation towards one another to keep, to give one another the basic fundamental right to life.
Hmm.
Yes, she should be obligated to seek help for that baby. Otherwise, the same child negligence rules apply. You had that baby. That baby would not be here unless you went out and did the thing that you did to get this baby here. So I think the word here is accountability. And yes, you have to be accountable for the decisions that you make. And I think a lot of women these days, majority of the women getting abortions are not rape victims or incest victims.
So if
In
she doesn't
fact,
take the baby to the hospital, she should be charged with negligence.
yes, she should
Okay,
be charged with negligence,
a
just like a
murder or something
woman
like that.
just like a toddler. Okay, you've heard. I mean, I'm sure you've heard of like all the weird, like messed up stories where a baby was showing signs of some medical needs. She needed medical attention, but the parents were just like, oh, whatever, didn't take her to the hospital, and then the baby ends up dying or something, or developing like a really severe medical condition. These parents are, majority of the times they end up going to prison for really long periods of time. I mean, there was this one parent that a baby I think was left alone and ended up accidentally cutting itself or something, died. This is negligence. It's like there's no excuse for it. You decided to have a baby, and the same way that you would protect your property, You know, you need to protect, people are much more careful with their phones, make sure their phones don't crack, and they're just so negligent with their children. So
Hmm.
yes, I do believe there need to be negligence laws that surpass, just the baby being outside of the womb. It should be that, if there's something wrong with you, I mean, currently right now I'm, also expecting, if anything's wrong, my first and foremost um gut reaction is going to be, I need to, seek medical attention, make sure everything's okay.
Yeah,
Not
so
just
let's
because of
say
me,
if
but
like a
because of
girl is
the child.
so if a girl is about to, after she decides to have sex, there's always like a percentage chance that she might get pregnant from that. So should we lock women up after they have sex, and and just in case, so that they don't do anything
What?
to their own body or kill the baby
Look,
by
I
accident?
don't look, no, because you can't do that.
Yeah, but
Like,
what if they kill
what
the
do you
baby?
mean? Yeah, then if they do that, then you charge them for what they did. But you can't have this level of, we have to treat adults like adults, and also
Hmm.
allow adults to bear the consequences of what they did. We can't baby everyone, because they're not babies. Okay, they're adults. They are fully conscious, and aware of the decisions that they made that will lead to certain things. And yes, I don't believe that people should, I this is one of the reasons why I'm very, very much against, casual hookup culture and whatnot. You shouldn't be engaging in reckless, intercourse, unless you are fully aware of the consequences and ready and prepared to deal with them,
Hmm.
and are with the right person. That's why this is obviously a completely different discussion, but yeah, you need to understand that this is why
All right, so let's
societies
say
fall apart
a woman
because of.
ejects like a couple cells of a baby, and you can put that baby, like that couple cells of a baby, into a petri dish, and to keep it alive, you just gotta keep watering it every so often.
this
Are you
this is
are you
this is
morally obligated to keep that thing alive because that's a
this
human
is this
life?
is literally this is look, I as much as I appreciate the medical advancements that we have today. I'm a very old-fashioned person, and I'm always going to bring it back to,
Yeah, but it's a
imagine a
human life.
time. No, what I'm saying is, imagine we're living in a time where we don't have all of this medical stuff, right? We don't have abortion clinics, we don't have any of this stuff. If you are pregnant, that's it. Like, that's the card that was dealt to you, and that's the
You know,
hand
I'm
you
gonna ask you the
chose,
question
okay?
again after you're done rambling, right?
But you can ask me the question, but I don't think it's a fruitful
So the
question. Like,
question
what
is,
do you
let's
mean?
say a woman ejects a couple cells of a baby, and it's in a petri dish, and you could keep it alive by watering that petri dish. That's a human life within that petri dish, and you could keep it alive by continuously watering it every so often. Are you morally
Is this a
obligated?
real thing? Like, is that a real thing?
It's just a
Is that
hypothetical.
what actually happens?
It could happen,
Yeah,
yeah.
but see, like, this is the problem with hypotheticals. It's like, it's not like, what does answering a hypothetical that is
Well,
not rooted in
answering a
reality have to do
hypothetical,
with anything?
yeah, answering a hypothetical would answer whether or not you're actually consistent on this issue. If you're consistent on this issue, you would say yes, you have to
No, no,
water
no. I'm
that.
consistent on what's real.
Yeah,
I'm consistent on what's real. But yes, okay, if you want to know, then fine. Yes. If Since it's a hypothetical that I know is not going to happen, if it were to happen and we had all the resources to do it, then yeah, I would keep the baby alive.
even if it's not going to grow any more than a couple cells.
What do you
You're
mean
just
if it's
trying to
not
you're just
gonna?
keeping it alive. So you're
Oh,
just
no, 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 no. See, now you're kind of like swishing back and forth. You're telling me that, oh, if there's a case where we have the technology to grow the baby to full term outside
no,
of the
to keep it
womb,
alive.
to keep it alive, but if the even while you're doing this, you're saying is going to, yeah, then I guess I would keep it alive, because I don't know, I can't confirm whether or not this will actually lead to life or not, but I
So
would still err on the
keep
side of
keep
caution.
6 cell organisms of human lives
It's a human
alive
being.
because it is a
Yes.
human being, and ending a human being, no matter the circumstance, is, even if it's a
Is
two-cell organism or a
Doesn't matter.
fully grown human being, ending the life of that two-cell organism is completely the same as ending the life of a
As
full-grown baby.
killing a human being
Well, at least
outside
you're
of the womb,
consistent. No,
yes.
I'm glad that you're consistent on this. But what about the I guess this is my last question, and then we could just move on to Q&A if that's all right. But if you have another question for me after this, you can ask me. But what about the person that's in a coma? You know, if a person is brain dead and they're never going to wake up again, wouldn't you be forced to say to keep that person alive indefinitely?
I actually personally went through a situation where there was somebody that I knew was in a coma. But unfortunately the only reason why they had to pull the plug was because the family that was keeping this person on life support did not have the funds to do so.
Was that an immoral act?
What?
Was that like an immoral act for them to pull the plug on the brain dead guy? Woman or
I
person?
mean, personally, I do think about it a lot. I think, like, you know, what if, you know, this had been like, I also think about this only was possible to even keep him hooked up on all of these machines because of modern technology. If this guy was living in some rural town in Bangladesh, he wouldn't have that luxury and he would have just died, right? Or maybe, like, you know, his health conditions would not, like, they wouldn't be able to sustain him as long as you would in a first world country with all of these medical advancements.
Yeah, but like,
so
let's say there is a way to keep him alive. We have the technology. We can keep them alive.
If there is a way to keep him alive, then yeah, it is. You are morally obligated to do so until you can. But I think
even
that
if they're brain dead,
it's not more, huh?
Even if they're brain dead, and they're never gonna wake up again.
But you see, I don't believe that you can confirm or deny these things. There are people who have been, you know, they've miraculously woken up from they've miraculously woken up from comas where doctors, every single person who saw them said, oh, there's no way this person's gonna come back.
So are you saying that it's impossible for somebody to go brain dead and
I think it's impossible. I think it's really impossible for somebody to really say what's going to happen in the future for a person. And I also, like, I mean, this is a completely different discussion. I just think it's very dystopian that we have all of these messages.
Do you think it's impossible for a person to go brain dead and never wake up again?
No, I don't think that's impossible. But
okay, so if it is possible,
case by case, you don't know if this particular person,
so if there is, if it is,
he's going to be one of those people.
So
there might be a chance that he comes back.
Let's say there is a person that is brain dead, and there is a way in which we could figure it out because we could check their brain and like stuff like that. There are ways and we could find out. Would it be immoral?
I don't think there are ways.
There are ways.
I don't believe. I don't believe that there are.
Okay, but let's say in a hypothetical, there's a machine that you press the button and it tells you whether the person is brain dead or not. Would it be immoral to pull the plug on that person?
I don't believe. But see, I don't believe that.
It's a hypothetical.
Because I fundamentally don't believe that. But even in that case, I don't believe that that's the case. Like, that could be the case even in this hypothetical. It's a bad.
So you wouldn't believe even in a hypothetical world where the thing is telling you exactly whether or not the person is.
It doesn't do any good. It doesn't do any benefit to answer this question because that hypothetical, in my opinion, like in my belief, that would never be the case. Like, you can never know something in the future, even in a hypothetical. Like, you can't.
Listen to me. It's a hypothetical. That means that
you've only given me hypothetical scenarios, and
I've given you a lot of non-hypothetical situations. But I'm giving you a hypothetical now. But if you will refuse to engage with the hypothetical, no offense, but you're going to lose this debate.
I've engaged with your hypotheticals, but this is one hypothetical that, I mean, I don't even want to answer a question of a hypothetical where someone would know the future because.
Well, yeah, I would expect you to not want to answer this hypothetical because in doing so, it would ruin your whole viewpoint on things.
It goes against my fundamental beliefs that no one can ever know the future. So it's not because it would make my argument fall apart. It's something that I don't believe could ever exist. So
if you have a cancer,
AlphaCat. No, but bringing up look, hypotheticals should still be based in reality.
AlphaCat.
Okay?
AlphaCat. It is based in reality for people to go brain dead. And two,
no. It's not based in reality. No. A hypothetical where you would absolutely know the future is not based in any reality.
AlphaCat. If you go and take a test, right, and it says,
did you hear what I said?
AlphaCat, let's say you take a test.
What? Yes,
I heard what you said.
You're talking past me. No, but I want to answer.
I heard what you said. Now allow me to respond, okay?
To what I said.
Should we go to the Q&A after?
I think we should go to Q&A.
One more second. If you take a test, hold on. If you take a test, right, and it shows that you have cancer, are you going to tell that doctor, well, you don't know what's going to happen in the future?
Yes,
You're
because
not going to
I
believe
have
that
no, no,
test?
no. I don't. I don't. I will believe the test, but I will not believe what the outcome of my life is going to be. I mean, also, I don't. I mean, maybe this is a person. As a person who's not really, um, very impressed by what we have in terms of medical advancements. I think that this is a very dystopian time that we're living in, and I
Mhm.
like to base all of my beliefs on more uh objective realities, such as, for example, you're bringing up a hypothetical situation of a case where we absolutely know something in the future. But what I'm saying is that's not the case for majority of the people that are living here today. Majority of the people cannot even afford to keep a person who's brain dead on life support for very long. I mean, that's a luxury that a very small amount of people have. So what I'm talking about is a average human being, right, who is pregnant. Should they have the right to terminate pregnancy at any stage? No. Forget about all the medical advancements across any time. I stand for this across all time, and it's an absolute rule that I have, regardless of how much medical advancements you have, regardless of how much you can advance and how much you can know about the future. It is absolutely wrong to do that in any stage of life, regardless of where you are. You're in a developed country, you're in an underdeveloped country. You have like in some places, they don't even have the capacity to do ultrasounds and check the health of the baby. And sometimes miscarriages happen. But still, it's wrong to willfully kill a human being in the womb. And that's the last thing that I have to say. And I think we kind of
Yeah, I
just
got one
landed
last
at
thing I'm
the
gonna
stalemate.
say. Yeah, I don't believe any of
You
that.
keep
No.
saying you
Hold,
have one
no,
last
I'm
thing.
not
The
asking
last
you a question. I'm just my
question.
final statement. Final statement. Then we
Okay,
go to
okay.
Q&A. I'm not asking you nothing. Final
Okay.
statement is
Final
I don't
statement.
believe any of that nonsense that she just said. In the end of the day, she doesn't want to answer the question because she understands that it's such a weird thing for anyone to even say that simply because a person is brain dead and their body is still alive, we have to keep that person on life support until that person's last cell in their body is, completely alive. I think she understands the absurdity of agreeing to that, and that's why she doesn't want to answer that. That's it.
Okay. No Q&A. All right. Anybody want to come up?
All right, I think
Keep it a
Musk
question,
takes.
not a speech.
Yeah, don't come up here to debate or anything like that. If you have a question, just ask. All right. I don't think anybody. It seems like nobody has
Okay.
questions.
I guess. Yeah. Musk takes said me. What's your question? Musk takes.
Raise your hand if you have questions. So, if you guys want to come up to the stage and ask.
Okay. I guess stop murdering humans. You can ask next.
You
Since
got to
Musk
raise your
thinks.
hand in the options, not the
Oh yeah.
chat.
In the stage.
Hmm.
Raise your hands.
All
Oh,
right,
okay.
hold up. I'm gonna, since they said they have problems raising their hands, I'm gonna invite them up. So,
Just tag
Okay. Can
Cephas
you
in the
invite? Can
chat.
you invite Musk takes?
Mm-hmm.
Musk takes is also has a question.
yeah. Hey,
Okay.
Suster, are you gonna ask a question?
It looks like it's grayed out for some reason.
I guess you guys can type your questions
You're muted, it
and
seems.
who the question is for. All right, can you drag Musk Takes and Omen as well, Cephas? I think they have questions.
What's going on? You got it fixed?
Up. Let's see. Your mic isn't working. Got you. What is it? So why can't? That's interesting. Why can't people raise their hand?
I don't know. Let me check that out.
Hold up. And just tag me if you want to come up. So.
Right, end event. Right, end the channel. Right, permissions. Members. Manage
Can you hear
permissions.
me?
Connect video. Meet members. Members.
Can you hear me?
Huh.
Can you hear me? So yes.
Yeah, we can hear you. This override is currently disabled for stage channels. We can't, for some reason, fast when I go to the chat, it doesn't allow
You
me
have to go to
to.
the permissions and put at everyone and give them the permissions to use the stage and for to speak.
Really, that's stupid.
Yes, at the at everyone's role, when you go to permissions, try to manage the permissions. You got to scroll down.
I
You'll see.
can't for everyone.
Oh, you
Only
can't do it
complete
for
chat.
everyone.
Yeah, not for everyone. What about overrides? This override is currently disabled for stage channels. I think it might have something
It's
to do with
fine.
our onboarding.
It's fine. You could just make sure everybody, whoever adds to false can come. It's only 11 people here, so it's not difficult.
Everything all right?
Yeah, I got a question for you, Sethis. That's how you say your name.
Sithis.
Sithis. Sithis. I'm gonna make it brief. Since you want to engage with hypotheticals, if hypothetically you knew the life trajectory path of the human that's going to be born, and you are going to have a miserable, terrible life that your mom deems to be a miserable, terrible life by her standards, her metrics, do you believe that she has the right to kill you?
Before the 24 weeks, yes.
Okay. So you're saying that in this hypothetical, if the mom knows that you're going to have a suck ass life, that you deem it okay and acceptable and justified and morally good to kill you because your life is not
I
in
never
her
said
standard.
morally good.
I'm asking.
Well, I wouldn't say it's morally good, but I do think you have the right.
So what gives you the right to kill a child based on his life path?
because in
Or they're
the yeah, I believe that a human becomes a person when in 20 to 24 weeks. That's when the person develops their consciousness. So killing it before then is of no consequence to me.
okay.
Mhm.
So do you deem that if a mother is going to have twins and she knows that in this hypothetical, she knows that one of the twins will have a good life and the other one will have a bad life, but she can't birth both children. She can only birth one. Do you deem it to be acceptable that she chooses the one that she knows 100% is going to have, in her metric standpoint, a great life versus the other one that's going to have a mediocre life?
I don't know if that's possible, but let's say it is possible to terminate
Your
one baby.
hypotheticals, anything, and
Yeah.
your hypotheticals,
No,
anything
yeah,
is
yeah, I know.
possible.
I'm
So
I'm
I'm
working on your
using your own
allow me to
hypothetical.
finish. I allowed you to ask your question, so you must allow me to answer. But let's say
Mhm.
there's a hypothetical situation in which that is true. As long as she does do it before the 20 to 24 weeks, then yeah, I have no problem.
Okay. It's the only question I wanted to ask. Thank
Okay.
you.
Anything else?
Who wants to ask the next question? Omen, what's your question? Can we bring Omen on the stage?
I mean, I have another question if it's going to take some time to get somebody else.
The only, as far
Yeah,
as
if
I
you
can
have
tell,
the
the only person
time.
to ask me a question is the deal.
Hang on, can somebody try to request to join, like Omen? Can you try it again? Oh, got it working. Let's go.
There you go.
Well, the button is working now.
Good, good.
Okay, I have two questions for Sithis.
Mhm.
Number one, what is your definitions of killing and murder?
Murdering would be the unjustified killing of an individual. Killing would be ending the life of something.
Okay, but did you just realize that you used killing in your definition of murder? So that means those two words have to be the same. You just gave two different
So you think killing and
definitions
murder are
for.
the same?
Yeah, you're killing. Yeah,
So
you're.
okay, so let's say if somebody's coming at you with a knife and they're going to kill
Mhm.
you, would it be murdering that person to end their life before they kill you?
Yes, because Oh wait, hold up. Repeat the question.
Somebody's coming at you with a knife. I'm coming at you with a knife. I'm about to stab you, and you got a gun, and you shoot me before I stab you. Did you murder me?
No, I use self-defense.
That's the difference between murdering and killing.
So you're saying you're using self-defense on a baby who can't defend itself?
No, you're
Is that
killing
what you're saying?
you're killing a baby and not murdering it. That's what I'm saying.
Okay, but you're using this the hypothetical you just said was if someone ran at me with a knife and I had a gun and I shot him,
No,
that is self-defense.
yeah, the
Correct?
hypothetical is supposed to show that you understand that there is a difference between killing and murdering, which you do.
Okay, but me using self-defense on a guy who wants to kill me is different than or murder me, because murdering is having a preemptive
Well, yeah,
wanting of killing.
killing is ending the life of something. Murdering is the unjustified killing of something.
Yeah,
So if
so
I
he
kill you
was
unjustifiably, I don't consider abortion to be unjustified. I consider if as long as it's 20 to 24 weeks, I don't consider it to be unjustified. That's why I don't consider it to be killing. Now you consider it to be unjustified. So you would consider it to be murder.
okay. I won't go into a whole debate on this, but
But that's the difference.
My second question is, I remember this in a way long ago past debate. Why do you feel that you deserve to have this opinion on abortion when you don't believe that you are talking to any of us right now?
I do believe I'm talking to you right now.
Okay, so you've changed your opinion on
No,
something
what I
then.
said is that that I believe that you don't have, like, I don't believe in objective reality in the sense that you can't 100% prove that you aren't unconscious right now. So, for instance, Omen, can you prove to me that you aren't hallucinating right now? Prove it to me without a doubt.
No.
Wait,
Okay, so
what?
then you
What are
don't
you guys
know.
talking
So
about?
then you're admitting that you don't know for certain that you're here.
No, I know for certain. I don't research the whole point of consciousness and hallucinations to have the empirical evidence to give you evidence to
Omen,
prove you wrong.
you admitted that there is a possible chance in which you might be crazy and might be hallucinating this, right?
But I have
So
not
that
looked
means that
into
you're
that.
not 100% sure that you're having this conversation, right?
I've never said that though. That's the thing.
If there's a percentage chance in which you could be hallucinating this conversation, right, and you agree to that, then that would also mean that there is a percentage chance that you may not be talking to me right now.
Okay, but how do you know that there is a percentage chance that you are hallucinating? That's the thing. You're implying that, which you don't know. So you can't know.
That's my point. You don't know, so therefore you can't be certain.
So are you saying that you can't be certain that a person is conscious or not? And this whole debate you were talking about
No. All I'm
consciousness?
saying is no.
Okay.
The whole argument that I'm saying is that the argument that he gave to me before was essentially that you believe that he's agreeing with me that there is a percentage chance that he may be hallucinating. So there is a percentage chance that this conversation may not be happening. But that doesn't mean
Wait,
that
I don't think that's what he
Hold on.
said.
That's not what I said. I never
No?
agreed with you.
So
to the
if
point.
you're
No,
hallucinating-
I never agreed to you to the point where we were not having this conversation. What I said was a few months ago when you had a previous debate, I believe it was in the Sneeko server, you had said before you had changed your.
I didn't change my tune, Omen, and
okay,
you
so
agree with
didn't.
me.
So then
you agree with me. You just said
twisting.
Did you or did you not just said that there's a percentage chance that you might be hallucinating right now?
I said I don't know because I have never looked any of this up.
Is it so?
You have the evidence to prove you wrong.
So
which
okay,
means
so if
I am
you
not,
don't,
no, which means I am not agreeing, nor I am denying.
So you don't know.
Not what I'm saying.
So do you know?
Omen, do you know if you're you're not hallucinating right now, right? Like you're conscious and
You
you're
know
not
that
on
for a
drugs.
fact.
I have a
for
conscience.
certain.
For a fact.
Yes, I have
certain.
a conscience.
Yes.
For a fact, I have a conscience.
So it's impossible for you to be hallucinating right now.
Yes.
Yes, because I have a conscience. I had the ability to deploy consciousness.
Okay, so you're saying that it's impossible for you to be hallucinating this conversation right now.
Yes, because I have the ability to deploy consciousness.
If you were hallucinating this conversation, would there be an objective way for you to prove that you're not hallucinating?
No clue.
No, so then you don't know.
No, I know because I have a consciousness, like you have been saying this entire time. I have the ability to deploy consciousness. If you are saying that I cannot identify,
you believe that you have the capacity to deploy consciousness.
No, you're saying if I have the ability to deploy consciousness, which I know is why I'm not hallucinating.
Mm-hmm.
If you're saying I do not know that I have the ability to deploy consciousness and that I could be hallucinating, then this entire debate makes no sense on your end.
Well, the thing is, you can acknowledge the fact that there might be a possibility that this conversation might not be happening, while also having an opinion on the things that are going on around you and what you perceive. That's why I believe that I can have an opinion on something in which I perceive to be happening around me, while also acknowledging that there's a percentage chance in which this reality might not be the correct one.
Okay.
So that's your question, Zoman.
What'd you say to this? Or Stephos?
I'm just asking if that was your question.
Yeah, those were my two questions that I had.
Gotcha. I'll drag your deal back down. I'm gonna ask whoever wants to come up. You can come up.
All right, cool. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Cool.
Yep.
So if I got your position right, your position is abortion should be permissible up until the 24th week because that's when you prescribe consciousness starting, correct?
That's when, yes, that's when consciousness develops in the brain. Yes.
Yeah, and how are
Around
you
that age.
defining consciousness?
The awareness of one's existence. Another way of saying it is I'm here, therefore I am. You know,
Self-awareness.
of one's existence.
Oh no! That doesn't start until like 18 months outside the womb.
Yeah, no.
wait.
Simply,
If you're
what you're talking
defining-
about is somebody being remembering.
No. If you're defining consciousness as self-awareness of one's own self, that starts 18 months outside the womb. We even have a test for this called the mirror test. We do this on children. Children don't pass this until about 18 months outside the womb.
When does consciousness develop in the womb?
It depends how you're defining this word.
No, I'm looking it up on Google.
According to PubMed, assuming that consciousness is
hold on.
mainly localized in the cortex, consciousness cannot emerge before
assuming that consciousness is
20 to 24
mainly
weeks when the
localized in the
thalamocortical
cortex,
connections from the sense
consciousness
organs
cannot
are
emerge
established.
before 20 to 24 weeks, gestational weeks, when the thalamocortical connections from the sense organs are established. Thus, the limit for legal abortion. Thus, the limit.
How are they defining?
You could look up the study
how
yourself.
How are they defining that word?
Yeah, you could look up the study yourself.
Wait, and how are they defining that word?
Consciousness requires a sophisticated network of highly interconnected components, nerve cells. It's physically substrate the thalamocortical complex. The cortical complex that provides the consciousness with its highly elaborate content begins to be in its place between the 24 to 28 weeks of gestation. So if you don't believe me, that's the science. That's the scientific studies. If you disagree with that, you would be disagreeing with the scientific studies.
Hold on. So I don't disagree with the science. However, they're defining consciousness differently to how you just did, right? So when we talk about consciousness, we're usually talking about having a subjective experience, right? Well, you just define consciousness as being self-aware. These two things aren't the same thing at all, right? So if you want to...
I have a question, Jam. Are you talking about being a sentient being rather than somebody who's self-aware and in a philosophical sense?
However you want to do it, however you want to define it. Yeah, however you want to define it. I'm defining the consciousness in the way that these studies are defining consciousness, which is, in what they're saying, is that consciousness starts at 20 to 24 weeks. So,
but you said
if you disagree with
that, a person is self-aware. But you were very confidently saying that a person who has experiences is self-aware. I am, therefore what is it?
I think therefore I am.
I think therefore I am.
Look it up.
But that's not in line.
The definition
right
of
now,
consciousness.
It's no longer in line what you're saying.
Here's
the state of being awake and aware of one's surroundings.
Being awake and aware of one's surroundings.
Wait, hold on.
I just looked up. So the definition on here on Google says the state of being aware of one's surroundings. So my definition for it is correct. And they're using that definition. And they're using that definition for the study.
Wait, hold on. Let's all calm down. Definitions are descriptive, right? So when you tell me consciousness, I don't know what this word means. You're the only person that knows.
I just told you what it means.
Okay, so if you're using that definition, then no, that's not the children are not.
That's fine, but you would be disagreeing with the studies.
No, because send me the study. I'm guaranteed that's not how.
That's the first thing that popped up when I looked it up on Google.
What's the name? What's the name of the study?
The study is the National Institutes of Health.
That's not a study. That's
national. If you don't want, bro, it's literally the first thing that pops up when you look it up on Google. Look it up yourself.
That's not a study. You didn't tell me that's not a study's name.
Okay, if you want to figure it out, go on Google and look up when does consciousness develop in the womb. The first thing that pops up is a study right here. So if you don't agree with me, you could look it up. If not,
my bad. So all right, let me look it up. So it's the National Institute of Health.
You're supposed to ask one question and then move on. I'm not gonna have a debate with you on this. So if you want to set up a debate between me and you on our own time, we can do that. But you're supposed to ask one question and then move on.
If you have another question,
Is
you can ask me. Then if not, then we gotta move on to
okay.
the
All
next
right. I
person.
guess I can ask another question, but
Do you have
I guess
another
I can ask another
question?
Yeah, sure. All right, cool. So what's gonna obligate the woman to stay pregnant after this child is sentient, right?
I don't think the
What's
woman should
that
stay
gonna?
pregnant. I think that she should get a C-section if she wants to get it removed.
Okay, that's fine.
Mhm.
Uh, okay. So okay, if we found out consciousness started at 6 weeks, would you push your time frame back to 6
Yes,
weeks?
but so far, from all the things that I've read, it says 20 to 24 weeks.
So you would
Of
push your
course,
time
yeah,
back,
of course. I'm consistent on this.
Okay. So all right. Um.
Yeah,
All
do you
right.
know there are
Cool.
other people that want to ask questions, right? I'm pretty
Is there
sure
anyone
that.
else that wants to ask questions? Uh, is there anyone
No
else that
one.
wants to? Okay. Cool. In that case, then I'll drop down. But yeah, appreciate you answering my questions, and that's fine.
Jam, your feet stank. Anyway, anybody else got any other questions?
Scarlett, do you have any questions?
Oh
Hey,
yeah.
Scarlett.
Oh wait,
Princess.
Send you an invite to join.
So Scarlett and then Princess, and then I guess we can wrap it up.
Oh, well, I'll video where but yeah.
Hello. Sorry, is my
Hello.
mic working well? Okay.
There we
I
go.
can hear you.
All right. Okay, so I guess I want to like talk to a pro-lifer because I see that the host is pro-choice, right?
Yeah, AlphaCat.
Okay. Okay, so could I like understand your like maybe like your argument on like, you know, your stance of being a pro-lifer? Like, is there like, I mean, I don't like. I just could I get like a full like synopsis of like what you like your view on pro life, like yeah, on women and stuff, so I can
My
like.
view on women?
I mean, yeah, like with pregnancies, since you're like pro life, like what is like your cutoff? Like, are you like for like
Well,
okay,
I
like
believe in preserving the rights of all women, even women that are unborn. You know, I mean, I am against the killing of women even in the womb. So I believe that I am more pro women than, you know, meets the
okay,
eye. But
I'm not coming at you and saying that you
I'm
hate
just
women. No,
I'm just
I'm only
yeah.
Wait, what if
I'm
it's a
just saying
boy?
that I believe look, I
uh-huh.
believe that we need to draw a very strict line of who has the fundamental right to life and who doesn't, right? And I'll put this in the simplest way. Like the only sensible pro-abortion argument that I see is the simplest one, that in an arbitrary decision, like we can basically choose not to assign human rights to a group that is most vulnerable, which are unborn babies. Okay. I hold the view that every single human being, no matter which stage of their development they are at, has the fundamental right to life. And I think that that women who are hosting these lives, you know, for this developmental stage, have a moral obligation to preserve life and to be against killing. And this goes there's a lot of things that need to be implemented before we get to a place that's more ideal. I mean, I think that women should stop using abortion as a measure, a means of contraception. I mean, the stats show that majority of abortions, like 60% of abortions, are actually second or third abortions. So I feel like we have a bigger problem than just giving the women their rights. I think women are kind of taking this as a free pass to just, you know, have unprotected sex and not bear the consequences, when the consequences and risks of having unprotected sex or even having reckless sex is that you could get pregnant. And that has been leading to the killing of a lot of unborn children. So, yeah, I mean, I'm extremely pro-life. I believe that we as a society have an obligation to, uh, you know, uh, preserve the right that human beings have. Doctors, they give an oath to try to save every single human being. Um, and I think that it's very ironic that abortionists who are in the medical field, their specialty is basically killing human beings.
Um. Okay. Okay.
Do you have any
Sorry. That's
questions?
no. I guess I do. I have a lot. Because there's
You
a lot
can
there to
ask,
unpack.
since we're kind of ask I guess the most priority question that you want to ask.
Okay, so I'm with you with the like the rates of women getting like a lot of abortions. And I think it's solely because of the lack of education. I don't think the government, like, or I mean, I guess the Supreme Court, like, hit the jackpot when they were like, okay, no abortion or like, restrict abortions. I think that was like, the worst case scenario to like look at and to like try to restrict women's like freedom to at least like have the right to talk to their doctors and to their families on how to like start the process of having an abortion. We should have looked more on education for the youth. Because in Oklahoma and other like states that are very like um I mean, these states are very like strict on like safe sex and all of these stuff. They don't want to like, I guess teach that in schools. And that's
Mhm.
why you see a lot of teenagers being teen moms, or a lot of them have to go to other states to have abortions. I mean, these are the real issues. Um I guess
Uh-huh.
from your morality standpoint, are you religious? Is this like a religious standpoint, or is just like your like this is like what you believe? Like, are you like, is this like motivated by religion in any way? Just want to know.
Not necessarily. I believe even if I was just I do hold the position that responsibility first. And in terms of sex education, I mean, it's not rocket science that, having sex leads to pregnancy. I don't think this is something that needs to be taught in schools. I think we are
No, I think it
human
needs to be taught in schools because a lot
that
of
you get pregnant
people.
if you have sex. I think this is
No,
something that
no,
is
I mean to children, to at least like a young teenagers who obviously are very like confused with how with their sexual I guess awakening or something or whatever.
I
Like
don't think they're
these happens.
confused. I think it's just that they are unaware of um I think I
I
honestly
wouldn't say
don't think it's
confused though, but I would say like
I don't think it's confusion. I think it's leniency, and I think that it's gotten to a point where we are not holding people accountable for their actions, and people really
yeah,
honestly believe that there's no.
that's why I rather have schools at least like I'm okay with encouraging young teenagers and I guess
to
young adult, no, actually no, teenagers, sorry, minors
like,
who
what would be the goal? Like, to teach them what?
the goal is to at least encourage them to not have like sexual intercourse at that age. It's like it's not really ideal. There's a lot of things you can do with your life before you, I guess, start to, I guess,
I
become
agree. I
sexually
think
active.
I
But
can
I'm
agree
sorry,
with you
I'm
there.
sorry, hold on.
Yeah.
But I do think saying, okay, no sex, don't do that, right? I'm not gonna help, I'm not gonna teach you about how, if you do have sex, this is how you go about it. There's no like schools don't give this, well, not schools, but like colleges, because obviously they're young adults in young like 17-18 year olds in colleges, like they don't really like give like these kids contraceptives that would help, because like I wouldn't want to not at least like give tools that can lower a chance of a woman, a young lady getting an abortion. Like I would want them to have a healthy ways to, I guess, like have safe sex than to end up pregnant and then having a very traumatic experience at like a parent parenthood or whatever, right? Like I mean it's as simple as that, right? And I mean I know we're kind of losing time, but I would love to talk to you more. But that's just my take. I feel like your stance on like, there's this obligation, there's this morality. We ought to do this. Like, women ought to like we're the carriers of like like the next generation or something. Like, no, I feel like we place this responsibility on young women when like I mean
But
the
we're not,
stages of
but
pregnancy
we're
should be
not
talked
placing it.
about. I don't
You
think
do
like
Hold
realize
on,
that
let's keep
you're
it let's try to keep it
right. I'm just gonna say one last thing. Like
yeah.
this whole idea of, we're placing this responsibility. I mean, we just need to call a spade a spade. It's when you do something, this is life. You have to bear the consequences of your own actions. No one put the responsibility on you. You can't
And
do something and then expect everyone to just give you a free pass when you don't want to deal with it. You have to deal with it on your own. And the thing that I
no.
want to say is that having sex education and having all of these tools and all of these, things, we need to coddle. It's too much coddling, and it's a modern thing. I mean, for
No, we
centuries,
have
women
to
didn't
do that
have.
because no,
Oh,
exactly.
No, but
We
for
don't want to
centuries,
go
women
back.
never
guys.
had.
Wait, hold on, wait. We don't
Wait,
want to
for
go back.
centuries,
Wait, hold on.
we didn't
Wait,
have
wait.
sex
So, like, we don't
education,
want to
and we
go
didn't
back
have
to
this
Princess.
problem.
Princess.
Wait, I just want to finish my
Wait.
sentence. I just want to finish my sentence before we just conclude. For centuries, we didn't have this concept of tools and resources for learning how to have safe sex. I mean, it was just everyone inherently, it's a part of your primitive nature to know what happens when you have sex. And I think that the fact that we're coddling children too much and infantilizing them almost is leading to this issue. It's not that we're not giving them enough education. It's just that we are not giving them enough responsibility and holding them accountable for their actions.
I think it's very harmful to look back at history on how children or how young
All right,
women
next
went
question.
through pregnancies. Like, it's not
Who's next?
it's not really. Oh, are we over?
Next. Yep. Yeah, you're over. Have a good one, Princess. Thank you for
we-
the question.
All right, thank you. Sorry.
Yeah, you're free to discuss it whenever this is over in like the debate VC or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. All right, Scarlett, you're up.
Must take up to that.
I had to find the unmute button. Okay. First off, call me middle of the road, right? So we'll just stop there as far as my opinions are. But a couple of comments, I guess. For KingSithis, the discussion was around the 24 week, or 20 weeks to 24 weeks. And then after that, what should be done? Do they have the right to make that decision, or do they have to see it through? And your comment was C-section. Well, I'm not sure where you're getting that from, because they don't do that until later. Like, unless there's some sort of medical problem, that woman's then stuck. It's not like an instant, at 24 weeks, you then decide, well, I can't have an abortion, then I'm just going to have a C-section. They don't do that. It's like 30, it's a 39-week rule, which is only 3 weeks early.
What's the earliest you can get a C-section?
Serious health exceptions, it might be
According to March
36
of
to
Dimes,
37 or
if
something
you schedule
like
a
that.
C-section and your due
And then
date
my
is
other
off by a week or
comment-
two, your baby may be
This
born
camera
too
went off,
early.
so I don't know if you can hear
Babies
me,
born
but
early,
the
called
other
premature
comment
babies,
was on
may have more
AlphaCat's
health
side.
problems at birth and later in life than
Do you
babies born
think
on
that
time.
if
This is why it's
these women are having too many abortions or whatever, that maybe another option should be provided, like having your tubes tied, which some cases can be reversed, some can't. That way you might have the decision to have this later. Like, is there, do you have an opinion on that kind of topic? If a woman wants her tubes tied, you have to go through serious psychological evaluation if you're under a certain age, because they don't understand why you don't want to have kids. And maybe the majority of these women having abortions don't want children.
What's the question?
As far as the solution is. And those were my 2 comments, if you want to put your 2 cents in.
Sure.
KingSithis, there were more
did you hear her
comments.
question?
What was your question?
She made a comment on the C-section, and that you said in the 24 week period, if a woman does decide She
Oh
can't
yeah,
decide
yeah.
it's
There
no more.
are, if I'm not mistaken, there are ways to keep a baby alive after 20 to 24 weeks after you have a C-section.
But did you hear what she said though?
What did she say?
Your camera went out. Were you muted? Were you able to hear her when your camera went out?
My camera didn't go out. I
Yeah,
was
it's
able to hear
buffering
her.
on my side.
Um,
Okay.
So what I was going to say was that there are ways in order to basically take the baby out and keep the baby alive after the C-section. But after that, I also believe in evictionist theory, which is essentially that if you could remove the baby, you have the right to basically remove that baby. Now that doesn't necessarily entail an abortion. If you're able to keep that baby, if there's a way in which you can keep that baby alive, well then you have the right to keep. Then we believe that you should be morally obligated to keep that thing alive and give it up for adoption. But if there is no way to keep it alive and it dies on because you've removed it from your stomach, well then yeah, that's different.
That's what I'm wondering, is if there was more info you had behind that or to support that.
If I'm not mistaken, there are ways to they have experimental ways with to keep baby cattle alive outside of the womb. And there are ways in which we could use that technology to keep babies alive outside of the womb in much more earlier ages. And if that technology is proven to be true, then we could use that to basically keep babies alive.
So it's in a work in progress.
Mm-hmm. I mean, if it is true, but
Yeah, all I could find was that if a C-section has to be done, the general rule, across the board is like 39 weeks. Well, babies are born about 42 weeks, so you're looking at a 3-week early, maybe. Anything before that, like a doctor's approval, right? Can we take it out and take care of it? Well, no, not before 36 weeks. So that's quite a gap. That's a 3-month gap between the 24, week point and then after. So I just was curious if you had, in your prep, had looked up something more on that, but it sounds like
I'm pretty sure there's a way to keep it alive. I'm not gonna lie, you kind of caught me. I did not do my research on that, but let's say there is a way to keep it alive. Well, then I would say obviously keep it alive. But if removing the baby from your stomach ends up in it being in it dying, well then obviously I would I think that you have the right to remove that baby.
I think that's why the doctors don't do it, is because it still needs that mother till the 36-week point or something like that.
Yeah, I understand that.
And then AlphaCat on promiscuous question.
Yeah, I heard your question. The only thing I have to say about that is, yeah, I feel like they have all of these extra avenues that people want, except for the thing which is just be more responsible. And I think that that's also extremely selfish, because I don't think everyone has the fundamental right to just be promiscuous. That's going to lead to something. And just to kind of give you more context, getting your tubes tied can cost a bunch of money depending on where you live. Also getting it reversed and whatnot, you might not have health insurance, and also women all over the world might not have access to something like this. So I think there needs to be a solution that's much more that works across the board, rather than something that's just a luxury for a few. Because yeah, getting your tubes tied seems kind of like a first world country luxury that women are able to do. But even then, I feel like there would be a lot of psychological issues that come with that. It does seem like a pretty invasive procedure, and then you might change your mind. It might cause complications. I don't know about all of the medical implications of getting your tubes tied, but I can imagine it comes with a lot of an array of issues that could probably further complicate pregnancies in the future. So in my opinion, it would just be, imagine if, we didn't have all of the technology that we have today, women would just have to resort to just being plain and simple more responsible. Imagine there is no such thing as, imagine if we were living 300 years ago, where there's no such thing as medical abortion. There's no pill anymore. You would just would be forced to adapt. And I think that that's what works for human beings, just pretty much forcing them to adapt to a situation that they know they have no way out of. And I think that's what we essentially are lacking right now, because there is no forcing anybody into a situation, or they're not seeing there's too many options out of their situation. This is why I think we have the issue of women being promiscuous and then eventually using abortion as a contraception instead of just using condoms.
All right. Next question. Or next person.
Did that answer your question, Ezra? Did that give you a little bit more info on
Yeah,
my
it's fine.
thoughts?
I wanted to make a comment towards something he said and then a comment towards something you said. So
Thank you.
I did both.
Mm-hmm. No
Right.
problem. Next person. Oh, not him again.
Hey, bro, be respectful. Oh, fuck. Did everybody just disappear from the fucking...
Okay, so Sithis, what is your definition of consciousness, just so I know?
The definition of consciousness is the one that the dictionary definition of consciousness is, which is the awareness of one's existence, or the state of being awake and aware of one's surrounding.
Okay, so you're saying, okay, do cells have consciousness? Yes or no?
They don't have human consciousness. No, I don't think so.
So do cells have consciousness in general?
I don't think so. No.
Okay, it says cells do have consciousness now, which would derail your whole abortion topic. Because if you're saying that cells don't have topic.
Omen, we're just asking questions.
Unicellular organism may display. All right, I just looked it up. Unicellular organisms display learning, memory, and anticipation, risk management, and other aspects of cognitive theory. Therefore, a strong evidence from cellular biology is forcing biology to accept that even cells are sentient beings. But the thing is, right? There's a difference between a cell's consciousness and a human's consciousness. Like you understand that there's a difference between. I think we all understand that there's a difference between like a cell's consciousness and a human's consciousness. A human's consciousness is a lot more complex than a cell's consciousness. A cell's consciousness, it doesn't have the memories and the awareness and all the things that sort of come with a human consciousness. It's not nearly the same.
But a baby doesn't have memories at 20 weeks.
Well, the thing is,
an awareness in the light that you're saying, it's still sentient. And an embryo, maybe a cell in this case, in the definition that you looked up, they're talking about like a unicellular cell. But if we're talking about an embryo at like 10 weeks, it like the heartbeat is there, and it is very much sentient. It can feel things, but
yeah, but it's not
perhaps
conscious.
it doesn't have,
because the parts of the brain aren't there to.
But by the definition, it does say it is conscious. It is sentient.
Yeah, but it doesn't have human consciousness. But the thing is, it's only saying that for unicellular organisms, and a baby is not a unicellular organism. It's a multicellular organism.
But an embryo is a human being, so it is human consciousness.
Yeah, but it's not a human consciousness. It's a cell's consciousness.
No, it is an embryo is a human being at fetal stage.
So you're saying that once a human, so you're saying that when the baby meets the egg, once it becomes one cell, it has consciousness, and then when it splits into two cells, it then loses its consciousness.
What?
Because you just said that multiple cells.
No. I'm saying that once according to the same website that you got your definition from, the National Institution of Health, human being.
And I don't even think that's like for all cells. I think it's just like certain cells.
It's when there's.
So I don't know if this even applies to human cells.
Well, human. It's just cells. It's cells.
Yes, but there's a difference between like a single-celled organism and a human being. Yeah.
And a human being is an organism.
Yes,
the very
but the thing
definition
is,
an organism.
We're not a single-celled organism. We're a multi-cell organism. So we don't grow from one cell and then just stay that way. We multiply and then come into a body. And that body doesn't develop consciousness until 20 to 24 weeks.
Not according to the way you believe consciousness
Well,
would
I
be
mean, I've looked
qualifiable.
at, from what all the studies that I've seen, it shows that we develop consciousness in 20 to 24 weeks. That's what it says. That's what the science says.
Yeah,
sure
I think
anywhere else to
maybe we
put it.
can move to
Mhm.
maybe we can have like another discussion another time about like consciousness, because I think there might be a small I think there might be a small disconnect between the scientific definition of like an organism's consciousness versus what you think is a person's consciousness, which is
Also,
like having
like another
memories, being
question I would ask
self-aware.
is, if a person is brain dead, are they still conscious because their cells are still alive? That doesn't make much sense.
Yeah, so that's what I was saying, like what the
That
definition of
doesn't make much
consciousness
sense.
is. No, but what I'm saying is that your definition about valuing life at consciousness
Mm-hmm.
is when a person has awareness and memories and experience.
Well, I mean, it doesn't have to be that, but I'm going by the actual definition, and I've already explained what the actual definition is. But the end of the day is that
Yeah, no, that's fine. I just
we
didn't
consider
know
we consider a
whether.
person to be dead when their consciousness leaves their body, and I consider it when they comes upon their body. And I think it's a little bit weird to say, oh well, they're brain dead, but they're still conscious because their cells in their body is still alive. I would say no, that doesn't make sense. They are lacking human consciousness at that point.
Okay. Yeah, I see what you're saying.
Mm-hmm.
Does anybody else have any more questions? Just last round of questions.
I think we can wrap it up.
Fair enough.
I think we're good.
Thank you everyone for coming.
Thank you guys, and AlphaCat, thank you very much for accepting my invitation to the debate. I appreciate you. I hope I wasn't too hard on you.
No, it's okay. I think we had a pretty civil debate.
Yeah, I think things went pretty well in my opinion.
Yeah.
So thank you for coming.
Thank you very much.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Have a good one, guys.
All right. Goodbye, everyone.
Have a good night.
Hold up. I want to clarify one thing before everybody leaves. If any Americans are here calling St. Patrick's Day St. Patty's Day, I want you all to shut the fuck up. It's St. Paddy's Day after Lala Padrick, right?
Oh, also subscribe to KingSithis. All right.
You fucking old bastard. Anyway, yeah. I'm gonna move everybody down to like the debate channel, I guess.
All right, that was really, really fun. I had a great time. Yeah, AlphaCat, she seems to be a pretty good sport through that whole debate, and it seemed like we got some good content for you guys today. So if you guys like this debate, drop a like, and yeah, I'll see you guys next time.